Yeti.
Put it this way, I think Sami Callihan might as well just change his name to Invader
I
1.
want to know why. Like, he can dodge any question. Like, I'll tell anyone that. You can tell me the but I'm going to ask specific questions.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all the rest of you yahoos who are out there dilly-dillying you little wankers, we're actually receiving real wrestling news.
This is
Brett Screw Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett Screw Brett.
Hold 2! Arm bar!
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hurst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule. Yeah, they do.
Hey, what's up, TAW Mafia? It's the Yeti. Make sure you're following us at 3 Irish Boys with a Z on Twitter, Facebook, the Instagram. Also, JP and I are on there. I am at 406 Yeti. JP, what's your handle on there, big dude?
JPTIW.
Oh, that's right. JPTIW. You got the Irish whip in there.
That's right. I got it.
Yeah. As always, you're going to find us on WrestlingNewsSource.com. Also on PODCOIN, folks. If you are not keen to PODCOIN yet, you should be keen to PODCOIN because you actually get rewarded for listening to us talk shit about everything that we love about wrestling. Well, we don't.
Yep.
So once again, at 3 Irish Boys with a Z. JP, you know more specifically. Plus, I want you to properly introduce our guest for tonight.
So, for years, he called me Pee-Pee.
Like a penis?
There was Pee-Pee instead of JP at the start of every show that we were on together. But for so many of those shows, like, me and Robbie would just sit down for like an hour before the shows and just have like good conversation. So Robbie is actually somebody in wrestling that is a good friend of mine. And I hate the term brother in wrestling, but he is a brother to me.
You didn't answer my question. Before you introduce him, you didn't answer my question. Is that in a reference to a penis?
That Robbie? I'm sure Robbie didn't think I was. I'm sure you didn't think I was going to bring that up.
No, I totally was gonna say something too before, but damn, you beat me to the punch. But no, I think that was just like you said. Like you sat down before all the shows, and I think it was just one of those days where we had a bunch of people, and I think someone just said it wrong, someone misheard say JP, and I was like, oh, it's PP, and fucking. At that point, it kind of I think it just stuck at that point.
Yeah.
So that's neither a positive or negative for you as far as a penis reference from either of you. So let's just move on and you can introduce him, JP.
So he's been known as so many names over the past couple of years, but it's the Giant, the at Giant RAA on Twitter anyway.
Correct.
You should spell it out because your accent, like a Sasha or Sasha.
The Giant, it's Giant RAA on Twitter. RAA. He is the Giant Robbie Gamble. He's been, so, I think the Giant's been most of your time, but I mean, you've been, what was it? There was a little thing there, JBL.
I was JBL for Extreme Rules pay-per-view back in 2013. The
WeeLC match.
For the one and only match of WeeLC that they've had with Hornswoggle versus El Torito.
And for a very short period of time, I had to get you back for the PP you were gonna do. You will remember Degeneration X.
Well, no, technically, everyone gets it wrong. Because actually we were part of Hornswoggle's DX. His thing was he formed his own DX to make himself look more important to DX to kind of win them over. So technically we were part of Hornswoggle's version of DX, lowercase DX as I like to refer to it as.
Now I want to get right down to your beginning and just work from there because like your career's been
From the
every
semen.
person,
Right from the semen. That's what we want to do, is when we get from the semen all the way through.
I feel like every person that we've had on has had their own path. And it's been, like, we had Dave Cole a couple weeks ago, Robbie, and, like, Dave's path the way he's at now is different than anyone else's. And I feel like yours, so where does a little person go to train to be a professional wrestler?
Well, little person actually trains with everybody else. Basically, growing up, me and my best friend, Ian Conley, who later would become my tag partner for a little bit, we always just wanted to find a place and learn actually what to do. And we were going to go actually in a year advance. We were going to go to a top rope training session because they advertised 16. You had to be 16 and over. But at the time, I was 16, but Ian was only 15. So I didn't want to jump ahead with them, so I figured I'd wait the year. And then we actually went to a local show that was running one night, and they advertised for a school. And between the ages of 14 and 16, if your parents signed off, you were okay to sign up. So we actually talked, and the guy in charge was actually Ring of Honor's Brutal Bob Evans.
Nice.
So thanks to Bob Evans, his school when he was running all those years back is where we actually started getting my feet wet.
That is, it's cool, and I obviously knew that, but I wanted to just get that across because you do your thing now with the midget wrestling, but you spent years wrestling guys that were close to twice your size at sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, especially for people that don't know Max Power, I think he was taller than Handsome Johnny or Hanson or Ivar, however we're gonna call him here. But basically, yeah, I started right away with the big boys and had to work my way and earn my way through getting tossed around and running around those guys every night.
No,
JP, let me ask you this question. So, 4'11", right? Almost 5 foot.
4'11".
Okay, how tall is Rey? 5'4",
Ray,
5'4", 5'5".
I think Ray's actually 5'6".
No, I don't know what he's a little less than that because actually, maybe we can get to it later on. But I've come encounters with him, and he actually is not that far off from from me actually.
Really?
So the only reason I ask that is because relatively, when you watch, like when I watch Rey in the ring, right? Because you've obviously watched Robbie in the ring, and I've seen him a little bit. But when you watch Rey in the ring, that's relative. What you're seeing is you're hitting that second rope instead of the third rope, and that's the only reason I ask. As far as Rey, I mean, he's pretty short, man.
A little bit, and that was actually that was like one of my biggest inspirations also for wanting to wrestle with the big guys. Because you saw a guy like Rey doing that week in and week out, especially from WCW days to the WWE. But
who was it? Was it Rey that took you to the point where you said, "I want to train"? Like obviously, like Rey told you you could train, but what made you wanna?
Well, first it was Rey, obviously, because growing up, I was always the runt of the school or the group, so the size thing always discounted me from thinking I could do something, and then started watching WCW, and at the time, Rey was one of the head cruiserweight showcase stars, and then he actually did a thing where he took his mask off. So when you see his size, you saw how young he was. That was probably the point where I was like, hey, like someone this small can do it. Why can't I? And then it grew into watching guys like Spike Dudley, who wasn't obviously he was in shape, but he wasn't one of the biggest people. But at the same time he got, he fought every week, every show, came back and wrestled some more. So I figured, you know what, you don't have to be the best, but as long as you work hard and have like the heart of the underdog, then maybe there's a chance for everybody. So
I saw him at a top rope show, and I think it might have been his last match. It seemed like he gave a little farewell speech at the end against Tommy Dreamer, which was really cool to see Spike versus Tommy in a small setting like that, and he's still not the biggest guy in the room.
No,
It's
no, he's definitely not.
now where do you go? So you have your first match. Like what promotions, what prominent kind of promotions did you work for? Obviously, EPW I think was Bob's, and NECW, PWF, and all that stuff. But I mean, we obviously in WWE clearly. But like, what were the spots you worked for on the independent scene?
I didn't really have any goals when I started. I kind of just wanted to get out there and get as much experience, as much match time, and kind of just get my name out there. So I, like I said, I started with Bob for EPW. I did NCW. They gave me a chance to kind of be another home to be a frequent user for. NECW, obviously, when Matt, Kyle, and all them opened the doors for me to start. PWF, obviously, but it all kind of more started, like I didn't really have a consistency, I guess you could say, because of my size, until I probably met Short Sleeve. And then when I met Short Sleeve Samson, he kind of just took me everywhere. So for probably a while of my career, I was just kind of going in and out of shows and places just to get my name out there around the U.S., around, New England and all that.
Yeah, you did do a good amount of traveling, and I think a lot of that came with Short Sleeve. But it's like I've had moments where like I've had friends, obviously, but it's like I see what you do, and I'm just so like I'm proud of you on everything I watch you doing, and you keep your dignity and you keep your pride. Like you're not gonna work for someone who you don't like, not who you don't like. You'll work for someone you don't like, but you're not going to work for someone who does kind of shit business. You know what I mean?
He's not a sellout,
yeah,
JP.
no.
He's not a sellout.
No, so what I'm saying is, like, he'll work with anybody, but if it's a shit business, if someone that's doing shit business, he's not going to do it.
No,
and I've kind of seen that from
very
you.
quickly.
Now, where are you at now? You're still doing the Short Sleeve thing?
Yep. So I do travel occasionally with Short Sleeve when he gets some independent bookings. Right now I'm still with NCW. Basically feel like I'll be with NCW till I'm eventually done. Lucky Pro up in Mass.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to be on tour next week for this promotion called UCW out in Halifax. So I'll be out in Canada doing my thing again. Yeah.
You've done the Canada trips. Now, when you go up to like Canada, how do you wrestle?
Oh, I
know that's a weird question, but like, do you wrestle? Are you wrestling their normal guys,
naked,
or are they putting you against their
clothed old
guys? I mean,
guys?
is it mud wrestling, Jello wrestling? No, are they putting you against? Are they putting you against the normal size wrestlers, or are they putting you against other little wrestlers?
No, it's all against midgets. I mean, we can say midgets. It's okay. Because normally I've either gone wrestling Short Sleeve because he basically gets his name out there. So I either go when I'm in Canada, I'm wrestling Short Sleeve, or we're bringing. I feel like it's our company. I'll call it our company because even though I don't own it, but Midget Wrestling Warriors.
Yeah.
Which we basically bring a whole group of midget wrestlers and just put on a show. We've had probably about 10 guys come and go on that roster that I've combated with. So, I mean, it's all different people, but mainly when I go up in Canada, it's all midget wrestlers. But that goes back to Bob. One of the things that helped me stand out was he trained me like everybody else. Like you said, like the Max Powers, even like the Brian Maloneses, the Mike Bennett's, he trained me just like all of them did. So I learned like everybody else. I didn't get the short end of the stick or just the little basics. I got taught and I took beatings like everybody else, and that's what to me makes me, I believe, stand out more. Is I'm versatile. Like I know I've adapted to different styles.
And Bob, in the New England area at the time, Bob was the guy that was training the big guys, which is cool. He had I think wasn't Mike Sane was a Bob guy?
Yep, Mike Sane was a Bob guy.
lot of like the
Mike
bigger
Sane.
guys were with Bob's, and then there's Robbie. You know what I mean? So for you to be able to hang with those guys is cool, and it speaks for your character, I think.
Yeah, and I can definitely I took a beating back in the day, but I could, like I said, I feel now I can still hang with any big guy out there, but Bob just threw me right into the wolves every week at training, every show we got to. Even like guys like Congo. Congo is one of the biggest guys I've been in the ring with. He was
so good. He's probably one of the most underrated people out there.
I wouldn't say as much underrated because he's getting out there, but I think it's just more of he just, I don't know. He just needs to have the right place to really showcase what he can do, because it's pretty crazy how good of a wrestler he actually is.
Now, what do you prefer? Do you prefer wrestling as a midget, or do you prefer wrestling like doing like NCW, where you're gonna do the normal guys? I love NCW. And Josh, the NCW guys, those are the guys that do the three-way theater.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I'm with you.
And that's their promotion.
Yep. I would say I probably prefer. It all depends on who I'm wrestling.
Okay.
For probably the first 7 years that I did that I was in it, anytime I wrestled a midget wrestler, it was not fun. Like, besides short sleeves, like I would be put with other guys, and it just either it didn't click, or they just weren't trained properly, or they just had no like head-on game plan, no real what do we do for the crowd thing. They just did stupid things or want to do stupid things. So for so long, I would do these shows with other midgets, and I literally, after every show, would text Bob, and he would vouch for this. I would text him like, "Oh my God, thank you for training me the right way. Holy cow, these people are terrible," or "This was just not anything I would expect." And yeah, but not until probably we started, the Midget Wrestling Warriors actually started up, is when I didn't mind, or I liked rather, wrestling other people my size, because we had started having a roster of people that actually knew what they were doing and actually could go bell to bell.
Now, when you wrestle like short sleeve, are you doing the midget spots, the like biting the ass and the running around the ring?
Nope.
I was just going to ask that. No. I was just going to ask that same thing. Kind of. I don't mean to cut you guys, but Robbie, what is the? You're talking about wrestling now, and it's bigger than it's ever been. Fortunately for everybody. Yep. So every time as JP talked about, it was more. I mean, call it what it is. You guys were used more as a mocking type thing than actually taken as a literal competitive type wrestling. So I guess the question is how much has it changed from like JBL to now for you?
It's just wrestling in general. Like, you look at, not to compare like what we are to compare to women, but you look at women, for so long, women were just just eye candy. They were just a bra and panties only wrestling match that wasn't even a match, to, putting one girl trained with a whole roster of untrained divas or super managed valets, to, starting to, have training facilities and actually bringing in women that could actually wrestle. And obviously it's grown to and developed to where they had their own pay-per-view, they were at the main event of WrestleMania. It's just kind of like that. It's just, we're on a different level where there's a lot more people that are taking time to learn their crafts, that are midgets, that actually want to learn. And even from my time, from when I started to now, there's a whole more plethora of people that are actually trained and actually want to improve and get better.
And I think it's actually, I was going to make the same comparison to the women, because it's run very much parallel from
very parallel, but not
being
not as big.
No, but it went from being a gimmick match to being, and that was the point I wanted to make. I knew the answer about you and short sleeve. You know what I mean? That you guys actually wrestle. Like, it's going to be a wrestling match. It's not going to be the in the corner biting the person on the ass. Like, you're actually an athlete. Like you are, and very much so.
Well, but that's always like the biggest compliment I get. A lot of places would bring in me in short sleeve only expecting to see a comedy and see like 2 minutes of, untrained, just comedy, goofy stuff. And then they see the match and after like, oh, wow, like, hey, like, good job. Like, you can actually wrestle. I'm like, yeah, that's how I was brought up in the business. So. Do
you get that with Midget Warriors though? Or is it all wrestling? All real wrestling? Well, not real wrestling. You know what I mean?
What do you call it? I mean, that's what we're trying to call it, right? We have to differentiate the two because there is a difference.
There's wrestling and then there's midget wrestling. But like what he does,
there's midget style.
Okay.
There's midget style, I'd say. We'll say there's the midget style.
Perfect.
More or less.
And you're not the king of midget style?
Oh, I absolutely am. I am the king of midget style.
That's a T-shirt right there.
That is my T-shirt. I don't know what you guys are saying. You guys gotta check out my merch more.
Yeah.
No, do you get but if someone brought in the Midget Warriors, do they get a little bit of the haha shit?
They get it in a sense of it's gonna be done correctly or it's gonna be placed correctly. It's not just done just to do it. It's not midgets going under the ring, biting a referee's ass for no reason at all, then picking each other's not rockets.
You guys don't live under the ring?
I think I changed under the ring once or two, hung out under the ring a couple
I
times
know
at NECW.
Here's a funny story: is I know for a fact I've put you under the ring at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that was probably like the scariest half an hour of my life. Being under a wrestling ring.
As people are bumping in it. And so Robbie was part of a stable with John Poe, who John Poe was at least 6'6" because he was my size and 300 pounds. And Poe was probably in the ring when you were under there.
Yep.
Because that might have been when you turned on them.
No, that was for a different time. When I turned on them, I was actually in a sack bag, if I do remember, or I was in a chains. I think I was chained up. By Kathy. I think Kathy had me in a chain, and she was walking me like a dog on a leash. And then I just.
Those are some of honestly, that time was some of the funnest I had at shows. And it was the people around, it was the storylines. They brought Robbie in by having him do a body slam challenge.
What?
Yeah, they brought him in. He was in the audience. And this is how he became a part of the stable, was they had this other guy, John Monroe, who was another big guy who they did a body slam challenge with every week. And they'd bring someone in who couldn't body slam him. And Robbie became their pet for a long time.
That's awesome.
Not he was
really, yes, it is awesome.
He was a great evil midget.
Oh God, yes, I was. And then I got to play with fire towards the end. That was the best part.
You did. Do you remember where you were from?
I do not remember.
The wrong side of the yellow brick road.
That's right. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's just it was that stuff that at that point there, the Armory was selling out all the time. They were putting 200 people in the Armory when that wasn't happening at indie shows, and from there, I think it was right after that kind of that you hooked up with Short Sleeve, right?
It was around that time that Short Sleeve were. Well, because we didn't really I did some things with them here and there every couple months or so. Nothing really too special. I didn't really hit the road part with them at that point. I think we did a couple of things local, but it was probably a little more towards after that is when it actually kicked in of doing actual tours and doing the tour life for a while.
Now, where did you like? At what point did you start doing like the WWE shows, the going to the taping stuff?
The first one was December of 2009. I was 19. It was their Christmas episode, actually, that the first one was supposed to happen, and it was down in Florida, in Tampa, I believe, was where they were going to film it. They had the Raw, and they brought us in the night before.
Now, what was the reaction like when you go backstage? Do you feel like you got a different reaction than like a normal independent guy goes backstage?
Yeah.
Because you don't look like a midget.
No,
you know what I mean?
When I stand next to a midget, I don't look like a midget, unfortunately. But everyone, when they see me by myself, they always say, "Oh, look, it's the midget," or "Oh, hey, look, it's Robbie, the midget wrestler."
Right.
Like, yeah, and then they see a guy like short sleeve, and it's like, oh.
But that's not even. I don't even mean height wise, because you're obviously very short. But I mean like.
Are you saying you're one of those ugly midgets?
You're not like chubby. You're not like you don't have that stereotypical midget look to you.
Right. No, I was.
You don't have the big forehead.
I'm being as unoffensive as possible, but yeah. But yeah, basically. So, but I mean, like when you go backstage at something like that, do they just think you're like fucking part of catering or something?
No. Well, when I walked in, I walked in with a couple of guys that were booked for the mini DX thing. So they kind of just, oh yeah, he's part of the group, but I couldn't grow facial hair to save my life, so I don't know. They might have thought, oh, it's bring your kid to work day. Because I was so. I mean, you remember?
Yeah.
I always, I couldn't grow hair to save my life on top of my chin, so I always looked like a kid no matter what.
You did, but that worked to your advantage, I think, at some point as a performer. No.
Yeah, because it gave. Well, obviously, when I was always good babyface, it gave people a nice little kid look to, to sympathize for, but
now
also didn't make me look as old as I am.
How long have you been at it?
I've been doing this now. Actually, I just celebrated my 12th anniversary last month. Actually, so I've been for show wise 12 years.
That's insane. Like I remember, like, cause you came to a lot of the you did what Bob preaches now, and I don't know. Like Bob preaches it publicly now. I don't. He had to have been saying it in class back then, but like. You were showing up at shows you weren't on and helping out, and that was literally, at least with NECW, the one I knew the office for. That was how you got on.
Yeah, no, I tried to do that everywhere I wanted to kind of get my name out or, place to start a connection with. I would always try and obviously go early, see if there's anything I could do to help, and obviously make sure everyone knew who I was and keep a good reputation, because obviously, everything now everything goes word of mouth. Like, oh, I know this wrestler, that wrestler. Yeah. Like, well, no, I've seen that wrestler. I know where that wrestler is. So it makes more of a better connection and want people to book you that way.
And what's cool with you is you do that now. With like, I know with Bullet, like you take Bullet to a lot of shows, and I've seen Bullet at Caleb's show last month, like, and he had a spot. And it's kind of cool to see you do that for someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bullet's been kind of my reverse Rob the Giant short sleeve Samson type thing. Obviously not as much fame as short sleeve, but with like the whole giving me someone that I can give the world to and help along the way. And to be honest, he's probably one of my favorite people to actually wrestle.
He's pretty good for someone that's been in the business as little as he had at this point. His matches are fun to watch, especially like I've seen him a few times with you at like Fenway and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's earned it, and like for me, I think what makes me more want to help him and more be obviously what's drawn us together as a friendship is like he actually wants it. He doesn't want it like as in, oh, I'm gonna be a WWE wrestler. It's like no, he wants to learn. He wants to just get out there. He wants to have fun. He wants to enjoy it, and he does. And to me, that's what a lot of wrestlers are missing is like the passion, the actual passion and enjoyment of it, not just I'm going to do this to get noticed. It's no, I'm going to do this and have fun and give it my best and learn and continue on.
Now, where do you plan on going from where you're at now?
Probably to my bed from where I am right now.
I'm with you. I know me and you both wear it today.
Yeah, no, it's a rough life now, but I don't know. I'm just at this point. With everything that I've encountered with over the past couple of years, obviously I've had my few WWE moments. I had one last year that kind of hit home really hard. So it's kind of just seeing kind of chug along and seeing what opportunities come up. I'm kind of not really hunting it, I guess you could say, for now. I'm just keep on going and trying to enjoy it and have fun. At this point, I want to do what my 8-year-old, 9-year-old self wanted to do, and that's just wrestle for fun and enjoy.
What about Robbie? What about? I mean, if you're not chasing, I mean, what about training some of these younger generations of kids? I mean, you're even like tonight on Indie Wrestling TV. You've got Uncharted Territory that Beyond's doing live now every Wednesdays. I mean, is that something that like you've ever thought about? Maybe, I mean, you've got a ton of knowledge, a ton of psychological knowledge in there, and being trained by Bob. I mean, obviously one of those human beings that it's a good person. So, I mean, is that something you've ever given thought to?
Yes and no. For people that do know me, I'm the least patient person. So I feel like if I did that, like if I did like beginner, that would be like the worst thing for me, because I just want to go, and I want people to do things. But I do like helping people. Like I help Blow a lot. I had a kid a couple years ago that I introduced to a school and had him brought up, and once he kind of got the thing of the basics, I was there at those trainings to kind of help push him along, but also help everybody else that was there at the training. So I mean, it's always an idea, and it's something I do like to do, is helping the younger generation, or just the generation in general, just anybody, because a lot of people nowadays, things get cliquey, or things are just not like they're frowned upon, or there's just certain ways that they can only do things, and I feel like that's wrong. I'll never say anyone's teachings are wrong. It's just you have to have an open mind, and you have to, like, actually, JP, you probably don't remember. Well, you'll remember this, but I don't think you remember the whole story. A couple of years when the PWF show that they had the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
That when they brought it in. So obviously that night I wrestled Twister, the Worcester baseball mascot.
Okay.
You remember that, right?
I do, and yep. I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. The biggest thing that probably opened up my mind a million times more. So they put me in a match with the actual guy who does the mascotting. So no training ability, no nothing. Can't fall or can't bump in this costume. So I'm already dealing with less options of entertainment. So I put the match together as best I can with an untrained person, but an entertainer, and the match happens, and he forgets everything.
Oh,
he doesn't go off how I'm playing in my head, thinking in my head, but the crowd they were laughing. They were entertained by the fact that this mascot's beating up this little prick who was just trying to sabotage the show, and the mascot's coming in, tossing me around. They were entertained by it. So I get in the back after, and inside I was beating myself up because it was a big show, and I wanted to do so much more. I wanted to have a better match, a better opponent. But I just sat back, and someone's like, "Hey, Robbie, how'd your match go?" Like, not being sarcastic, just literally asking, "Hey, how'd it go?" And I just looked up, and I was like, well, the crowd popped. The crowd liked it. And at that moment, they had the Honky Tonk Man in our he was in our locker room because he was on the show, and he literally just stopped and he, in front of the whole locker room, he pointed out to me, he goes, "That's what I like to hear. That's what you don't hear anymore, is that the crowd liked it." It's like, and Honky went off about how he's tired of like spots and people trying to get all their stuff in just to entertain themselves, but it's more of the people that you're trying to focus on. And so at that point, I've always made it a point to see what would this town want? What are these kind of crowd? What are they into? Instead of just worrying about myself and doing what I think's good. It's like, well, no, this town's where we're going to keep coming back to, so we want to build. We want to see what entertains them. So and I do that every time I go to a different show or a different arena. I try to feel the crowd and go based off that.
It's like setting the table, man. You gotta set the table right before you can have a good dinner.
Was that the match? Did Alex Payne get involved in that?
No, that was not the Alex Payne match, I believe.
Alex Payne is another big guy, and there was a match that you were doing some kind of spot like that where it wasn't with someone who normally wrestled, and Alex was supposed to come running in, and before the show I was talking to you, like happened literally at a lot of shows, and Alex Payne just walks by going, "I'm going midget tossing," and kept walking by.
Yep. Nope. That was for I think like a whole year. That was our thing, was midget tossing. Basically, I would take 5 back body drops from Alex Payne every show, and it literally sounded and looked just like it was. It was midget tossing.
And that was like, Alex was awesome, and I saw Langer at this. I saw him at that same top rope show I was just talking about. He was just there hanging out. Like he's someone I see like once a year because he doesn't really do shows anymore. But he did those because he liked working with you. You know what I mean? He knew he was going to have an easy night.
No, he did. I think he had more of a fun night more than an easy night because he got to do a little beat up a little more than he expected. So.
JP, we're at our third. Let's take a minute to recognize the old PODCOIN boys and girls.
All right. So,
listen,
guys, PODCOIN is new to us. We owe them a little bit of time right now. It's easy way to listen to any podcast you like. Really, there's a ton on there, and it works like those reward sites where you get like so much for every minute you listen.
For every minute you listen to or whatever podcast you listen to, you get rewarded for that. You get coins. So it's just like if I was going to Chuck E. Cheese, but it's for podcasts.
Yeah,
this is Chuck E. Cheese for podcasts, man.
You trade it in for gift cards for like Starbucks and places like that. So
fucking erasers and
you're
pens
welcome for your morning coffee.
So if they go to PODCOIN, they have to subscribe to us before they start getting this gift stuff.
I think they just listen to us, but they can subscribe to us on there, and then you can listen to us every week and get more money every week.
No, seriously, you get gift cards for what? Like cool shit?
Like literally Starbucks, Best Buy, all that stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And so it's just podcoin.com. Oh, I have that. Never mind.
Yeah, it's the app on your phone, and they have both iPhone and Android. So yeah, everybody's covered.
And they should probably listen to we should recommend the Irish Whip first.
Yeah. I know
probably
most of the face guys are on there.
Talkamania is on there.
Talkamania was the one who turned us on to it, so.
Yeah. Smart to Death guys, I don't know if we're on there yet.
Yeah, screw them.
How about the wrestling podcast about nothing?
I think they're on there. Yes, they are. But we want you to go on. We want you to go on and use your the code Irish Whip.
That's right. There's a code.
You get an extra 300 coins right off the bat.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's gonna get me my eraser.
There you go. You need an eraser. You make a lot of mistakes.
Thanks, PODCOIN.
Now, Robbie, if you had one favorite match that you've had so far, what's it been? Do you have one? Or do you have a favorite like spot or moment?
Probably. I have a few favorites. I think the one that stands out was probably it was early on. It was about 2009. I did I was out in Regina, Saskatchewan, out in Canada, doing a 2.5 week tour with Short Sleeve, and I was the heel, and the crowd just, for whatever, they were just liking everything, and at the end, they gave a standing ovation to me and for Short Sleeve. That was like my first real, like, where someone still cheered. Well, someone gave a standing ovation to me, especially being a heel. So that's always one match that stands out, because also too, that's when I kind of had to feel that I knew what I was doing, and that was, wrestling maybe is actually something for me.
And you've done a couple of those, like, I don't want to say long tours, but like 2-week tours or 1-week tours. When you do those, how many days are you actually wrestling?
It's anywhere from, you're probably wrestling 3 or 4 shows in a row, off for a day or 2, back on. Normally the norm is probably for a 2-week tour, it's about 7 or 8 shows. We did a one span where it was like 11 shows in 15 days, where literally we had 3 days off in between, and the rest, and then like 1 more day off, kind of thrown in midway, but the rest was just everything. So it's not like
it's not like just a weekend thing at that point.
At that point, no, it was Monday through Thursday, or Monday through Friday through till Wednesday of just show after show. We'd wrestle, especially with the Warriors, we would literally drive in an RV to a town, load up the show, go take a nap, eat dinner or whatever, do the show, tear down everything, go to our hotel, sleep for 4 or 5 hours, and then get back in the van, RV, whatever we were doing, and back on the road, back at it.
No. So you guys, when you guys travel like that, you guys are the show. You guys are the ring and that, all of that.
We're the ring crew. We're the performers. We're the merchandise people. We're literally for so long we were everything.
Am I an asshole because I want to watch you guys set up the ring?
Well, we had it was a small ring too, so it wasn't always a big ring. We have a home 13 by 13, I think it is, or a 12 by 12 ring.
Wow, that is small.
Yeah, it's small, and especially for, I'm used to the PWF style ring, so to me that's an adjustment in itself, is being in a smaller ring with little to no space of moving.
Now, do you still do? I know you do NCW, and you said I know you do Lucky Pro out usually in Clinton, Mass.
Yep.
Do you still do a lot of the local shows, or is it really just those 2 at this point?
It's been those 2. For a while, I was doing XWA when they had their weekly. Well, they still do with their weekly throwdowns and occasional big shows. But schedule conflicts, obviously, I had to step away from. But I was doing that for a while. But that's about it.
I love the NCW. I've never been to an XWA, and I don't know why. I just haven't made it down there. One of the shows that, if I'm going to try to go to a show and be in the audience, which doesn't happen often, I just don't have time anymore with work and everything. I love NCW shows.
Oh,
it's just so fun.
They're so fun.
You see a lot of guys, like, it's all local guys, but you're a staple there. You got Steve the Turtle Weiner, and like, I think they use Insane Dick Lane, who I don't know, but I just think he's really fun to watch. And there's just a lot of, like, it's gimmicks, and I love that, and I like what, I think that's just a great show, and it's family friendly stuff. It's sort of like a mix of everything in there, though.
Is it like a Chikara show?
It's not that far out there with the gimmicks, but it's like Insane Dick Lane is this, like, he's
Robbie got that one.
Oh man,
not that far out there.
He's Insane Dick Lane is a super villain that is a tall, skinny guy, but he weighs 1,000 pounds or something.
Yep.
The way he's built,
magical suit.
Yeah, you gotta look up Insane Dick Lane on YouTube. I don't know the kid. He's just really fun to watch. But Steve the Turtle Winer's been like a staple around here in Chikara for a while, and Robbie's always there. AG's there, or was there when he wasn't doing his thing all over the place.
Yep. Kellen, Ryan.
Yeah,
still,
man.
He's still a staple. He's gonna
another
go until.
That kid can he can wrestle as well as anyone out there today.
Yeah, that to me that's the most underrated. That's one of the most underrated people is Kellen, because he's been around for so long, but he can catch you off guard. He puts on a good show every time.
He's so good. I'm glad when I see him put himself out there a little, because he's so underutilized. But I'd say the same is true for you, because you're actually like, I know, Robbie, I know you do your thing as a midget, but you're an awesome fucking wrestler.
Yeah, the only thing with that is I never got the platforms, or no one never really saw through that, unfortunately.
Well, if you had platforms, you might look a little taller.
Yeah, then I'm definitely not getting as many bookings at that point.
But But yeah, no, it's just been. I mean, it's been so long since me and you really sat down and talked too. Like, I think I saw you tweet the other day, and I was like, I gotta hit him up and see if he'll do this. And I just knew it'd be fun. I knew it. Like, I was having a shitty day at work, but I was looking forward to this, and then had some other decent stuff happen after work. So it's just been like a fun night, and I am so glad you're part of it. And we gotta get together at some point, whether it's at a show or not.
No, definitely.
Are you doing? Are you going down to Joe Bruin's thing in June? The Hall of Fame.
Oh, the Hall of probably not. I don't like to do those too much. I mean, I don't know. I've only done one. I've only gone to one, and that was because I was inducting short sleeves. So it was so. But I think I should eventually catch one of these Hall of Fames that I'm not doing.
I'm setting up a table, so if you want to come down and hang out, I got the ants from Chikara coming through.
Ah, cool.
And we'll be recording. Yeah, you could be an ant.
I'm surprised they never thought about that idea.
That actually could become a thing here very quickly.
The problem is they're all taller than you.
Yeah, they never had a small ant. That's unfortunate. Come on.
No, I actually suggested they put me in a mask and I'd be giant. I ran that by them. That did not get okayed.
It did not.
I did. I swear to God. Ask Green Ant. I totally suggested that. He told me they have a giant, but he's been stuck in the anthole. But yeah, so if you do wind up coming through there, like, just come through, hang out. I know the three-way theater guys are setting up a table too, and we're gonna do some kind of cross stuff with them.
Oh, nice.
With Jake, and that's Jake, JC, and Pava. So.
Yep.
That I'm fucking a little scared on what's gonna happen there. But no, it's Robbie, it's been fucking awesome. And you got my number, so let's stay in touch, please.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's definitely
Before we go, what else do you want to put over? Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and your MySpace. Make sure we get your MySpace in there.
Oh, God. I don't think I've accessed my MySpace in probably 12 years. Oh, God.
Dude, I looked and I still have mine is still out there, and there's no way I could ever remember how to log into that thing.
I might try after this.
In MySpace.
No, oh man, no, but Instagram at giant RAA 711, I think, and Instagram is giant RAA, just that. Or Facebook stalk me, that's fine, or add me on Facebook at Robbie Rujo. Good luck spelling it, but if you can find me,
Now, Yeah,
Nice to know that everybody only has one gimmick they use. It's nice to know that.
Yeah. Is there if somebody that was an earlier conversation.
Yep.
I threw someone's shoot name out not by accident, but I know better on a Facebook thing. But now, if you wanted to book you, how could someone do that? Just Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, privately, not posting on walls. Hey, you want to wrestle this show and this day? Because that will definitely make me not consider anything at all.
What about a Facebook invitation?
Yeah.
I mean, no, because that's awful.
What about a Facebook poke?
No, that's even weird. Listen, I had once NCW does shows in Bristol now. They're back at the VFW, and it's one of my hometown shows. So I blow up Facebook and send the invites, and I send it to a worker, and they message me and like, hey, am I booked? I'm like, no, you jackass! Like, I'm trying to promote the show. Just because you get an invite and you're a wrestler doesn't mean you're on the show. You say
I could almost guess who that was, because somebody, a wrestler, made a tweet about something similar. One of the local kids made a tweet about that earlier in the week, and that's kind of why I said it like that. I didn't know that was. Yep. I didn't know you had done that.
No. And it's not the first time. I think it's happened before. Or they're like, "Oh, I'll go to your show if I'm booked." I'm like, "No, like that's not the point. The point is I'm promoting something I'm part of, jerk."
It's not only that. You know? It's if you want to get booked, fucking show up and help. Show you're worth something.
Exactly.
You know, like don't.
Go. Or even with Bob. Bob promotes everything now. Bob shares every show, even if it's in fucking Texas and he's spending the weekend in New Hampshire. He's sharing or inviting everything on it.
So, like, I put over, and I'll talk about this just for 2 minutes, but like the stuff that Bob puts out there for advice for wrestlers, guys, if you all take that as advice in life, I guarantee your life will be better.
Absolutely.
You know, if you run a business, he's giving you business advice. He's not giving wrestling advice. It's business advice in actuality. Like, you want your business to thrive? Show people your business is worth something. It's that simple. So, and you're one of his. I don't know were you early on in his training?
No, that was probably in the heat of it. Because early on he had a lot of younger. He had a lot more guys that panned out more. By the time I started, they were already seasoned. So I would say I was kind of at the high point of his school that he had at school, because he had his own promotion, so he was doing his own thing. He's doing everything, so it's kind of more at the high peak of his school, and that I started, and that was primed in.
Nice, but Robbie, thank you. I'm glad we got to do this, and we should do this more often, whether it's on this or just hanging out. I get a lot of love here, and I'm so proud of everything you've done over the past couple of years. So
I appreciate it, bro. You know, you're always one of my go-to people, so I always appreciate you being there. You know,
that's always, and I'm a fan. So, Josh, you got anything before we cut out?
No, man, I appreciate it, Robert. Thank you so much for taking the time, dude. It's always fun, and every time I get a chance to sit here, just kind of every once in a while interject and sit back with JP and one of his friends, it's fun for me. So I just want to say thanks, man. It's a good time.
No, awesome. I appreciate it, man. You know?